Okay, today, boys and girls, we're going to be taking a look at some more comparison bar story problems. We worked on this last week. Comparison bars are used when you have two people that have the same thing, but one has more and the other has fewer. So if you would go ahead and turn to page 47 in your practice book, you'll find that today we're going to look at some practice problems together. We follow the same 5 steps that we have for all story problems by simply reading the story problem, then circling important information, followed by making a drawing to help us, then creating the correct equation to help us solve for the missing number, and making sure we have a label after we have our answer. So today I'm going to tell you right now we're going to be making some comparison bar drawings. So let's start by taking a look at our story and we'll go from there. Ben has 11 library books. If Ben returns 4 books, he will have as many library books as Dale. How many library books does Dale have? Now if I go back and circle important information, I'm going to start by taking a look at this 11 library books. It's not just 11 library books. It's how many library books Ben has. So I'm going to include him in that part. The next number I see, 4 books, also seems to be connected to Ben. If Ben returns 4 books, he will have as many library books as Dale. So I'm going to keep this library books in mind, and I'm going to include the word returns. The second person is Dale. Dale is our second person who also has library books. One last part, looking for the label. How many library books does Dale have? As always, I look for the words how many. And I'm going to circle 2 words here, library books. Keep in mind, that means now I have my label. I'm going to quickly go ahead and put library books down for our label since that's what we're looking for. And now that I have my important information circled, it's time for me to start with the next step, my drawing. Remember last week we looked at comparison bars, and to make a comparison bar, what you're going to do is make a rectangle big enough that you can divide it across with a horizontal line. And on the bottom part, you're going to divide that into 2 pieces using a vertical line. Now, whenever we have a comparison bar drawing, the top bar represents whoever has more. The bottom bar, which is a smaller bar, represents whoever has fewer. So let me take a look again. Ben has 11 library books. So one of the people is Ben. I also see Dale. Dale is my other person. So I know I'm going to use Ben and Dale for my labels off to the side, but I need to decide who has more. And sometimes it tells us in the story. Other times I really have to think it through. So Ben has 11 library books. Okay, I know Ben has 11. So he's one of the people. Then it says returns 4 books. So that doesn't help me know who has more by simply telling it to me. I got to picture it in my mind. So I'm picturing Ben, he's got 11. Then he's going to return 4. Okay, so he's going to have less. And then it says he'll have the same as Dale. So I already know right from there that Ben is the one who has more and Dale has fewer. Now that I have the people in the right place, I go back to ask this question. Do I know how many Ben has? If I look back, I do. He has 11. Now I need to look. Do I know how many Dale has? No, it doesn't say Dale has 4. It says Ben returned 4. So what I don't know is how many Dale has. That second number 4 will go over here because it's going to help me understand that if Ben did give 4 back to the library, he'd have the same as what Dale has now. From there, friends, I need to go ahead and decide what my equation is. And from there, we said that we use our math mountain to guide us. And so we said a math mountain's kind of hidden in that comparison bar drawing, with the number at the top being the number that we would use at the top of our math mountain. The number in the first box, this one time we don't know what it is the first addend, and the second number, which we do know is 4 this time, will be the second addend. From there, this is a different kind of story problem. I don't have to go with the numbers 11, 4, and some number. All I need to do for this story is to decide what equation can come from this math mountain to help me solve for the missing number. So in this case, I'm going to go with adding, because adding is certainly what I do like the best. But instead of starting with nothing, I'm going to start over here with 4. So I'm going to have 4 plus the unknown, which is the only equation I can have if I start at 4, because I add to go up the math mountain to get to 11. I chose this because I like to use make a 10 anytime I can to be able to help solve for equations. So if I have 4, then I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know I have 10 already, and I know I only need is one more to make 11. But I know that I have 11. I know I have 4. So my missing number is what's left in the dots that are at the top. In my make a 10, I know I needed 6 and 1, and 6 plus 1 is 7. So this becomes a mental math problem because I use that make a 10 strategy to guide me with my thinking. I'm trying to get rid of counting on my fingers because it's something that we won't be doing when we get to larger numbers, but using better strategies like the make a 10 and mental math to help us with our math when we get to bigger numbers. All right, well, let's try this next problem. Shelly washes 14 toy cars. Amir washes 9 toy cars. How many more toy cars does Shelly wash than Amir? I'm going to go ahead and circle that important information. I see 14 toy cars, but I have to include Shelly's name in there because there's 2 people that have toy cars, and Shelly's one of them. Amir is the second one, and Amir washes 9 toy cars. Now the question already has a highlighted word for me. This one really is helping me to point out what's going on. How many more toy cars does Shelly have than Amir? So I already know what my label is, and it's not just toy cars. It's not just more, it's more toy cars. So I'm looking for those more toy cars. Now keep in mind, friends, this is a comparison because I have Shelly who has toy cars, Amir who has toy cars, and one has more while the other has fewer. So I'm going to go ahead and make my comparison bar drawing. I'm going to use that horizontal line and divide it in half, and on the bottom part a vertical line, keeping in mind that the top person has more and the bottom person has fewer. So now let me see. Shelly has 14 toy cars. Amir has 9 toy cars. I know that each of those people has a certain number of toy cars. And it says 14 and 9. I already know that 14 is more than 9, so Shelly has more and Amir has fewer. Now I go back and ask myself the question, do I know how many Shelly has? Do I know how many Shelly has? If you said yes, you're right. How many is it? That's right, it's 14. So I put Shelly's number right here. And we know how many Amir has. He has 9. That goes right next to Amir. The number that's missing is how many more would he need to get up to that 14? So friends, I'm now going to use my handy dandy math mountain, and like I said, the numbers are hidden in there now. I can see them. 14 would be the total at the top. 9 would be the first add-in. Second add-in would be unknown. From there, I'm going to decide what equation helps me solve for it. Now, I already told you I do like my adding because adding seems to be easier for my brain. So I'm going to go to the bottom, and I know that that adding comes between the 2 add-ins. So I'm going to have 9 plus some number equals 14. Now for me, this becomes a mental math problem because if I use 9 and want to go to 10, I know that's just 1. And if I want to get all the way from 10 to 14, that's 4. So 1 and 4 more makes a total of 5. So I have 5 more toy cars. That's how many more Shelly has than Amir. Now keep in mind, friends, whenever we're using comparison bar drawings, that's only when 2 people have the same thing, where one has more, one has fewer. Let's try this next one. Gail has 6 peaches in a basket. If Gail gets 5 more peaches, he will have as many peaches as Carl. How many peaches does Carl have? All right. Well, let me go back and circle important information. Gail has 6 peaches. If Gail gets 5 more peaches, all right, so gets 5 more, he will have as many peaches as Carl. Carl's my second person who also has peaches. If I go to my question, how many peaches does Carl have? There it is, peaches, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to write my label in for peaches. All right, now this one's going to take a little bit more thinking for me. So I'm going to take some time to quickly draw my comparison bar drawing. And in this comparison bar drawing, of course, one is going to have more, that's at the top, and another person has fewer of the same thing. So what do they both have? Peaches. So who has more? Now let me look at my numbers. Gail has 6 peaches, so I know Gail has 6. I don't know if Gail has more, though. Then it says, if Gail gets 5 more. Well, if Gail has 6 and she gets more, that means her number is going to be adding to get larger. So when I think of that carefully, that tells me that Gail did not have the larger number. She had a smaller one because she needed more. And Carl had the larger number. So let me see. Do I know how many Carl has? Let's see. Gail has 6 peaches. Gail gets 5 more peaches. And Carl. No, I don't know this one. How much does Gail have? 6. And then if she gets 5 more, her bar would be the same as how many Carl has. So friends, now that I have that, I'm going to grab my Math Mountain to see what my equation might be. Top number, of course, is the same as the bar at the top. And the add-ins are found in the 2 boxes at the bottom. As I said, I do like my adding, but you decide what works for you. Please pause the video and go ahead and create an equation from this Math Mountain and solve for the missing number. Then come back and check to see what I did. All right, friends, as I said, I do like my adding, so I'm going to take my 2 add-ins, 6 plus 5 equals some number. Now, I already know my doubles 5 plus 5, which is 10. And if it was a 5, that would be fine, but this is a 6, so it makes it 1 more. So if I take 10 and add 1 more, I get 11. That means that Carl had 11 peaches. Now, friends, remember, we're taking comparison bars, and we're only using them because we have 2 people that have the same thing, where one has more, one has fewer. Let's take a look at the next story problem. Rob has 12 markers. Ann has 5 fewer markers than Rob. How many markers does Ann have? Go ahead and pause the video and circle what you think the important information should be. And then come back and we'll take a look at what I circled for my important information. All right, so boys and girls, here's my important information. I see 12 markers. Who has that? Well, it says Rob. Then it says Ann has 5 fewer markers. And in the equation, I see the question, I see how many markers. So I see that label waiting for me, and I'm looking for markers. Now, boys and girls, I'm thinking to myself, what do I know as I decide to use my comparison bar drawing? So I need to make my bars. Of course, the person who is at the top has more, and the person at the bottom has fewer. So let me think. Rob has 12. Ann has 5 fewer. So I ask myself, who has more and who has fewer? Well, it already tells me Ann has fewer, which means, of course, Rob has more. From there, I ask myself the question, do I know how many Rob has? Do I? If you said yes, you're right. But how many does Rob have? Correct, 12. So that number would go at the top. Now let's go back. Do I know how many Ann has? Let me see. It says Ann has 5 fewer markers. So it doesn't say Ann has 5 markers. It says she has fewer. So I don't know how many Ann has yet. But I know the second number goes here because that would be the 5 that she would need to be the same as Rob. I'm going to make my handy dandy Math Mountain. Go ahead and pause the video. Put your numbers where you think they need to go. All right. I see 12s at the top. Our first add-end is right here, so it's an unknown number. And then 5. For your equation, pause the video, write your equation from this Math Mountain, and solve for it to see if you can figure out how many markers does Ann have. Come back and unpause the video to see what I did. All right, welcome back. As I said, I like my adding, so I'm going to start at the bottom, and because it is a comparison bar drawing, I'm going to start with my 5, and I can add on the other add-in, which is the unknown, to equal 12. Now I know what 5 plus 5 would be. That's a doubles fact of 10. So if I think 5 and 2 more to get to 12, that gives me 5 plus 2, which is 7. Now, if you had 7, you've got the correct answer for how many markers does Anne have. Now, boys and girls, keep in mind, these are comparison bar drawings. So they are where we have 2 people where each of them has the same thing and one has more and the other has fewer. Today in your practice, I'd like you to go ahead and keep in mind, use those comparison bars to help you when you need them to solve for the missing number. Remember, those math mountains are easy to make once you have the comparison bar drawing, and then from there, it's just a matter of choosing an equation that works best for you to solve for the missing number.